Are you ready to learn why it's okay to allow your children to feel disappointment? Let's talk. Okay, friends. If I'm being honest, I feel a little bit scared and nervous and timid to do this, but why not? Let's start a YouTube channel. Hi friends, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Megan, the YouTube Parent Coach on Demand. And today we're going to be talking about the 5 common parenting myths that my clients believe when we first start working together. So let's get into it. When I start working with parents, they come to me with so many different parenting struggles, like not listening, tantrums, meltdowns, power struggles. They come to me labeling their children as strong-willed or defiant, and they just don't know what to do, and that can be a very helpless feeling. And maybe they've talked to other friends or other professionals, and maybe they're just not finding the answers that are right for them. So then they call me and we get the pleasure of working together. But something after 3 years of working with parents, something that I notice is that they come to me and we have to kind of work through 5 common beliefs. And so today I wanted to kind of go through them, identify the belief, and then flip it around, and hopefully you'll walk away knowing why it's okay for your children to feel disappointment and why that's actually a gift. So the 5 common beliefs, real quick, are behavior changes in the moment. I have to make them feel sorry to get sorry. My job is to keep them happy. Fear it equals respect. I'm a bad parent for asking for help. So let's talk about why those are all myths. Okay, first one. Behavior changes in the moment. This is a common belief that when your children misbehaves, that you need to punch them right then to make sure that the next time they don't do the same thing over and over again. Well, if you have ever had to put your child in timeout more than once for the same behavior, you know that this is a myth. You know that this isn't working, because the myth here is that behavior does not change in the moment. Behavior actually changes over time with lots of little movements, lots of little differences in the environment. Because when the environment changes, then the behavior changes. This is exactly why maybe you act differently at work than you do at home. Or maybe you hear from your child's teacher that they're acting one way, but they're not acting like that at home. That's because our behavior is influenced by not only like our peers in the room, but styles in the room and the external forces in the room and the internal control and guidance system that is in each and every one of us. All of those different factors kind of can come together to create the behavior that we see. It's never gonna change like in the moment, which is like one of the big shifts that I help my clients make, is to remove all of that fear-based punishment. In the end, what ends up happening is that it becomes more discouraging. And something that I fully believe in is that a misbehaving child is a discouraged child. So when we add on to the discouragement, the behavior is only going to worsen. If behavior was going to change in the moment, something that I could tell myself is that, Megan, tomorrow, you're gonna be a millionaire, and I would do it. And we know that that's not the case, because what would end up happening is I would have to, work with a financial advisor, get a different job, align myself in ways to make myself the millionaire, but it wouldn't happen overnight, and it wouldn't happen just because someone said it. That's the first myth, is that behavior actually changes when the environment changes. And the work that I do is to help parents change the environment. The second myth is that I have to make my children feel sorry to get sorry. That's, again, just not the case. Unfortunately, we can only control ourselves. We cannot make another person, get another person, force another person to feel anything that they're not willing to feel themselves. I see this all the time, is that we start to cue children to say a prompt. Typically we'll say, what do you say now? Or what are you supposed to say? Or did you forget to say something? And that cue is what then cues the apology or the please or the thank you. What ends up happening is that that's teaching children to rely on us to cue them, but it has nothing to do with the true sentiment. Instead, holding space to share those feelings of gratitude or share those feelings of frustration allows us to hold the space for our children to naturally say, I'm sorry, or naturally say, thank you. And once we start to create that internal flow, then we'll start to see it being used over and over and over again. Like, I can say I'm sorry, and I can think in my head, I don't mean it. And that actually gets us further to where we want to go. So learning how to allow children to have the space to come to that internal drive themselves. Yes, it requires us to help coach and model and show, but not prompt and push and make. The third parenting myth is it is my job to keep my children happy. We are a culture, a society that is uncomfortable with feeling disappointment. And so how that translates, our own inability to feel disappointment or vulnerability, then gets passed down to our children. And what ends up happening is that we take responsibility for how they're feeling, which what we learned in the last myth is that we are only responsible for our own feelings, not for our children. So when we take on that role of responsibility for them to always feel happy, they learn to look to us to keep them happy, which might be why tantrums and meltdowns will escalate, because they just don't know how to get themselves back to happy. We have 4 main emotional buckets: happy, sad, fear, and anger. Only one of those buckets is a positive bucket. Those other 3 can be kind of like feeling not so comfortable. When we don't travel through those other 3 and only focus on feeling happy, we're actually denying ourselves the skills and feelings necessary to get us back to feeling happy. So allowing children to feel angry, feel mad, feel scared, and feel frustrated allows them the space again to create the internal drive to get them back to happy themselves. Because there's gonna come a time when your child is not around you and feels one of those feelings, and will need to look internally to help get them back to happy, so that they're not looking for an external source of that feeling. I like to call them the gifts of disappointment. These tiny little gifts that pop up that allow us to hold space and teach the necessary skills, one for ourselves to see someone feeling disappointment, but also help them learn that disappointment is not a bad thing, that it's something that we all feel and we can all travel through. Okay guys, the 4th is that fear equals respect. In order to have my children respect me, they must fear me. I have a really hard time with this one, because respect at a core level is actually earned through love, not through fear. What fear does is not earn respect. It might look like respect on the surface. It might camouflage itself as respect, but it's actually just compliance. It's just someone saying yes because they're scared to say no. And is that truly respect? I want to challenge it to say that respect is actually earned best through love, which sounds like, what? Love? But it truly is. At a core sense, if I truly respect someone, it's because I love them, not just because I'm scared of them. And if your children are lying or hiding or moving away from you, it might be time to take a look at, how am I earning my respect? Am I modeling and showing them respect and getting that in return? Or am I forcing and making them and using an external fear-based tool to try to inspire respect, which is actually just compliance? Why this is important to know is because as soon as external person either turns their back or leaves the room, then it's gonna inspire like, mutiny, right? Like they're gonna not follow the rules. And this I see like with video games, we come up with an agreement and they agree to it. But then if they're at their friend's house, or if we're not around, then are they still respectful of the limits? And if the answer is no, I would strongly encourage you to take a look at how you're earning your respect. Because it might be like they might be just curious and they might be testing boundaries and limits. But if it's happening over and over and over again, that's signaling to me that there might be some work that needs to get done. All right, and the fifth parenting myth that I want to debunk is that I am a bad parent for asking for help. That's so not the case. Asking for help and bringing in someone to just help you kind of close a gap or pivot away from fear-based punishment, that's a signal of strength. Raising your hand and saying, hey, I want to learn something and I need a little bit of help and support, that again comes from strength. No professional is doing it alone. And I don't know why parents have to do it alone either, because this is the hardest job and it is taxing and it is exhausting and it is something that is like, you see everything that you want to hide right in front of you, right? Like your children are your biggest mirrors. Even just having someone there to text or to share that like, hey, this was a bad day, but tomorrow I'm going to do something different. That can be a total game changer. As the society mindset changes, so too will change our parenting mindset. I've seen over and over again little hints that this societal change is happening. Like if you've seen the Gillette commercial, if you've seen the Dove commercial, or if you're a fan of football and you've heard about the players who are going on strike for better pay and better treatment, this is happening at like the highest level. It's only natural that it's going to trickle down, because the more we go into the future, the more internal control and internal kindness is going to be demanded upon us. Imagine you in your office at work and your boss comes in and says, hey, take this class, learn this skill, and you're gonna work less and feel better, and you'll get a raise. What would you say to that? Oh no, that means I'm a bad employee? Of course not. You would say like, yes, sign me up. I wanna do this. And that's what working with someone like me or working with really anyone in this field is about. It's just about helping you get to where you wanna go and making sure that you've paved the right road. So those are the 5 parenting myths that I just wanted to kind of reframe, because I find that these 5 things are what I have to kind of help my clients overcome, typically in the first session. So I hope you enjoyed. So if you like this video, let me know in the comments. Leave me some love below, because that helps me know if I'm on the right track or if I'm totally off course. It allows me to like take some feedback and learn from it. And I wanna know if you learned anything in this video. That's what this channel is about, to influence, to inspire, and to create a bigger impact. So thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye, friends. That parents believe. 5. Not 4. Hi, friends.